response to those that were received before the meeting in November. As I said, normally the processes go through the monitoring officer, and then, as I say, there's a update for each individual case in the table.
Thank you. Do members have any questions or comments about any of the dispensations that are described in the papers? Or, sorry, any of the complaints or individual dispensations that are described in the papers? Good news, folks. Our real chair is here. I shall hand over.
Thank you, everyone. Apologies that I'm slightly late. Does anyone have any questions on the Code of Conduct summary of complaints? Not seeing any. I don't think I've actually got any myself on this one. So it was fairly clear what had happened. So in that case, everyone happy to note the contents of the report? Thank you, fantastic. Okay, the member training update. So again, this is for questions and then for us to note. And does that,
Would you like me to just quickly run through the report, Chair?
Yes, please do, thank you.
Certainly. So since the last meeting of the Standards Committee back in late November, there has been a further Code of Conduct training session held on the 19th of February, which you can see from Table 1, 7 members were in attendance. And then if we take a quickly look at Table 2, we had the annual address of the Police and Crime Commissioner and the Chief Constable on the 30th of January. Also, just to bring to members' attention, we also have a very short section on potential training for the new municipal year starting in May. This includes the annual requirements of Code of Conduct and licensing, but also just to note, the Code of Conduct training will be extended to the parish councils within Oxford City as well. But say happy to take any questions.
Any questions from the committee? Okay, not seeing any. I had a couple. It says, I think it's Table 1 underneath, yes. It said that there were 3 members who did not attend. Are those 3, is that 3 members who have been due to take it since the May 2024 elections who haven't attended?
Yes.
And is that, because I think there were, and is, I mean, I'm aware we're also in, trying to just phrase this in a, not in a specific way, but are kind of steps being taken, or is it have steps already been taken in regard to those cases, and it's about looking at what the next steps are, or is it a matter of kind of considering what an appropriate next step is now that they've had the opportunity to attend these sessions?
So normally, once we've had a member who's not been able to attend a compulsory training session, we do normally get in touch with them, just to obviously check mitigating circumstances and all that. As we're in open session, I can't really expand on that really, but the details of this, I suppose, any further actions with members not attending the mandatory training is listed within the Constitution. But as I say, with as it says in the report, myself and the monitoring officer will review the circumstances of those 3 members, and as I say, we will discuss that with those members going forward.
Thank you very much. And sort of in terms of developing the training for next year, am I right in saying that, so next year, the requests about sort of and feedback will be borne in mind, particularly with regard to having written briefing notes to sit alongside the training sessions? Is that right?
Yes. So as from the report, there was a survey conducted by Hannah, the Committee Member Services Officer, just to kind of touch base with members to see what they wanted. And yes, one of the requests was to have some form of briefing notes or, paper to accompany the training. So my team and I are working with officers to kind of see how to implement that. We don't want them to obviously be I suppose, a substitute for the training, but obviously some form of, I suppose, briefing note to complement the training is being explored with officers.
Thanks very much. I don't think I've got any further questions. Oh, actually, I do. I note that sort of the times of the code of conduct training held since the last local election have all been in the evenings. Has that sort of helped to boost numbers of attendance? Oh, what are you considering kind of a range of timings for the next round of trainings? If you could comment on that at all, that'd be really helpful.
Sure. So over the since the last election, and not really just code of conduct, but if we look at some of the other training sessions that we've held, such as the planning training, we held that across a morning, an afternoon, and an evening, and the highest uptake was on an evening session. And after speaking with colleagues in the planning team, it does look like evening training sessions are better suited for members. We do understand that there are mitigating circumstances across all, whatever time we hold a training session, it's going to work for some members, but it might not work for others. However, it does seem that evening sessions seem to be the where we do get the highest uptake, and it does seem to be a good use of officer time if we can capture more members instead of a session where we can only take, let's say, 2 or 3, which I think we had back in May for some of the planning sessions. So I'm happy to review that, but the data shows that evening sessions at 6 o'clock seem to be the most well attended.
Thank you. I think that, I phrased my question slightly funnily. I think that was more what I was getting at, because I think it's been in this committee that we've had discussions before where I've raised the fact that the evening sessions seem to be really well attended. So it's really good to see that being kind of reflected in future planning. Brilliant. Then all those who are happy to note the report. Excellent. Okay, thank you very much, Jonathan. Updates from the monitoring officer.
I'll quickly jump on this one before I hand over to Emma. Just to quickly update the committee on the recruitment for the independent persons. So the applications went out at the end of, or middle to the end of February. We were hoping that we'd have some applications already processed for council in March. However, discussing with the monitoring officer the last few days, we've decided to extend the contracts of the current independent persons while also conducting a full, robust recruitment program for the hopeful candidates for the independent persons. So we're hoping to provide an update, hopefully at the next standards committee. I've also noted down from the last meeting which members want to be on the interview panel. And once we've got a selection of candidates available, we will obviously get in contact with the relevant members and start to organise the relevant interviews.
Thank you very much.
Chair, I think Jonathan mentioned that I might have something to add, but I don't have anything for you unless I'm missing something. So nothing further from me, thank you.
Thank you very much to both of you. In which case, I think we move on to minutes of the previous meeting. So all those happy to approve the minutes of the previous meeting? Yeah, fantastic. And then dates of future meetings, and then we go into private session.
Yeah, just if you want to consider the confidential minutes, there's no other reason for that.
But can we just approve them without?
You can approve them without.
Does anyone want to discuss the confidential minutes? Fantastic. Is everyone happy to approve them? Brilliant. So dates of future meetings, 3rd of July 2025 and the 13th of November. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a lovely rest of your evening. Thank you to Jonathan and Emma and Hannah as well.